There were just 3 floors missing, like out of 15.
They just wanted to make sure they're being as safe as possible.
100%.
Man, that's kind of smart, dude. Or the other smart thing would be to just recognize that that's all complete nonsense and just number your floors accordingly.
Cool.
Just use all the numbers is what I would probably do.
Cool. Yeah, just use every single number about that. Well, guys, we're about to get into a bracket for today. We're doing a bracket of video game consoles, putting them head-to-head against each other. We got some OG, some old school consoles, as well as some of the newer ones. And here's the consoles that we're going to be talking about today. Of course, this is not an exhaustive list. There are some on there. We've got the Xbox One and the PS5, the PlayStation Portable, the Nintendo Switch, the Nintendo 64, and the Dreamcast, and the Game Boy Color, and the GameCube are the things that are going to be facing off against each other today. I see Tommy down there. We got Tommy on the case trying to figure out the video on our YouTube for you guys. So hopefully we have that back up and working. Hopefully we can try to get that working soon, guys. We apologize for that. Let's have to listen to the sweet sound of our voices until then. Over and over and over again. Let's go ahead and jump into that first matchup. Xbox One versus PS5. Coop, you've got the first vote here. Where are you rolling?
So I'm going Xbox One. Even though I grew up as a PlayStation kid. I mean, everybody kind of has their direction, unless you're one of those rich boys that had them all. But so I grew up with. I mean, you're kind of a rich boy if you had any of them, to be honest. I grew up with PlayStation and PlayStation 2. If PlayStation 2 was on this bracket, I'm glad it's not. That would be my far and away number one. Like I would just push it all the way through because that's the one I grew up. That was the age where I was really into it. Like I played so much SOCOM 2, it would boggle your mind. But for me, I've actually switched over now. Now I'm on Xbox One. All my buddies are on Xbox One. And the only thing that could get me over to PlayStation is MLB The Show, but I don't really care enough to do that. And honestly, my Xbox One it services a lot around this household. So yeah, give me the Xbox. I got to take that one.
Xbox for Coop. I got the next vote here. I'm going to be honest. I have not played a single second of either one of these consoles. The new gen consoles from Microsoft and PlayStation, I haven't played. So I'm going to go just based off of like my play history, what I've done. I've owned Xbox consoles and I've owned PlayStation consoles in the past. The ones that have gotten the most play have been the PlayStation consoles for me. There's something about the feel of that controller that just feels a little bit more natural, probably because I grew up on the PS2. And so I'm going to take the successor, a couple generations down from the Grandpappy PS2 that I loved whenever I was growing up. And I'm going to take the PS5 here, which means, John Luke, you're deciding this matchup, PS5 versus Xbox One. Which one's moving on to the next round?
I'll go with PS5 because Xbox, I got jaded from Xbox because I purchased, I can't remember if it was I think it was my first Xbox One I purchased, and it didn't really work super well. The controller didn't work unless it was wired, and I ended up switching to PlayStation. It was much easier. So I'll go PlayStation.
PlayStation moving on to the next round. But we got another PlayStation representative in the second matchup here. The PlayStation Portable versus the Nintendo Switch. I've got the first vote here. PSP ran into a behemoth in the first round. But the amount I wanted a PSP whenever that thing was released, I'm not sure there was anything I ever wanted more than like the moment I saw that. I moved on from it pretty quickly because you get distracted as a kid. But that console, the idea that I could have my PlayStation games running around was sick. Now the Switch literally takes my home console and I can take it on the airplane. I can bring it in the car. I can sit on the toilet. I can go from the big TV to the toilet, same game back to the big TV. It's the Nintendo Switch. And then all of my favorite games are on there. Legend of Zelda, Breath of the Wild is on there. The new Pokemon games are on there. You can get Stardew Valley on there. All the greatest party games, Mario Party, Mario Kart, Super Smash Bros. They're all on the Switch. I'm taking the Switch here. John Luke, are you rolling with the Switch or are you rolling with the PSP?
I'm going to go with the Switch. Yeah, Switch is definitely a better iteration of the PSP. I loved the PSP. It launched at the perfect time in my life where I was super into video games and very bored by anything my family would do. So the the PSP was a perfect complement to that. I was able to bring it to dinner, bring it to my sister's basketball games where I'd be bored in the car.
JL saw the world just over the top of a PSP.
Mm-hmm.
The Grand
That
Canyon.
was my whole life.
The Grand Canyon.
Everything was
here.
just a backdrop for my PSP.
Yeah, that's kind of beautiful in a way. You know?
Yeah. Playing Grand Theft Auto.
That should have been a commercial for them.
Right.
Like you just wrote the best ad ever. Just like seeing the most incredible recognizable world landmarks behind like friggin' Tony Hawk on the PSP just going wild on the screen.
Right. And then flash forward to like an adult and be like, I remember you see the Grand Canyon and in your mind you just think, I remember that. And then it's like then it clips over to Tony Hawk doing like a Christ Air. But anyway, so I never played PSP or Switch. I've played on a Switch, but I've never played a PSP because the thing about PSPs, you have to have one. No one's like, here, play my PSP. You know what I mean? It's kind of a personal device. So for me, and I'm also going to go with the one that I would want to play more, which there are a number of games on the Nintendo Switch that I've been desperately waiting to play. Like Breath of the Wild. I don't know, there's probably a new one out now, right? Is the new Zelda out
coming out? It's not out yet.
Coming out soon, yeah. So I got to get my hands on one, play that first Zelda so I can play the next one. So yeah, give me Nintendo Switch.
Nintendo Switch moving on to the next round. This next matchup is probably the number one toughest one for me in the first round here. The Nintendo 64 versus the Dreamcast. John Luke, you've got the first vote here. Which one's it's going to be?
I never played Dreamcast, so this is an easy one for me. I'm going with the other one.
The other one, the Nintendo 64. Doesn't even need to say anything about it because he hates the Dreamcast so much. Coop, where are you rolling here?
Yeah, I mean, my buddy had a Dreamcast, one of my good buddies. Shout out James Nolan, the boy. But N64 is just so classic, and it's still replayable. A number of games. I know, like, arguments can be made about whether James Bond is still replayable, or some people out there, JJ Zacharyson, saying that I think Perfect Dark is the better game. But there's a ton of games that you can still play now. Like nobody's pulling out their Dreamcast to play games, but I pull out my N64 and we play Mario Kart, we play Mario Golf, we play Super Smash Brothers, we play Mario Party. Like those games are all just as fun now as they were then. So N64 for me for sure.
My vote goes to N64, but I really feel like you guys are sleeping on the Dreamcast. That thing was ahead of its time. The memory card had a screen on it. The controllers were wild, man. Just like the Dreamcast controllers were so much fun to hold. The only console from that generation I think had a comparable controller to the N64. They were up there. And then some of the games, like Virtua Tennis, I played so much Virtua Tennis. I had a fishing game on the Dreamcast that was top tier.
I remember that game. I remember that
displays, little graphics on the memory card to help you out. Like that was wild to have that second screen, even if it was just like 8-bit. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that I do remember that Dreamcast fishing game, and it had no business being as good as it was, right?
Victor said, crying in the corner, hugging my Dreamcast. That can't be a very comfy pillow. May I recommend a pillow and playing your Dreamcast instead? And Michael said, you sound great, but I didn't know this was a Blackout episode. We're working on it, guys. I really apologize that it's not up and running right now, but we're trying to get that video working.
It is crazy that this is the episode too. I wore my Scott Fish shirt for Scott Fish, right? I got a new watch. Like, unbelievable, dude. Tech, please fix this, dude. Feel like, did you hear it? Ghost people talking into the void.
Nintendo 64, the Ghosts have voted to move on to the next round, which means we are on to our last first round matchup here. Our last first round matchup, which is the Game Boy Color versus the GameCube, a battle of Nintendo consoles, a portable device and a home console. Coop, I believe we're back to you with the first vote, if I'm not mistaken. Where are you rolling here?
I got the first one here. This is a very difficult one, but for me, the clear winner has to be Game Boy Color because I'm a little bit older than you guys. So the way JL describes the PSP, that's exactly how I felt about my Game Boy Color. Like sitting up in the back seat of my parents' car with like a Nintendo Lite, just giving myself the worst possible headache playing Pokemon and Sonic, Pinball, and all these crazy games. Like that was it for me. So like Pokemon Red and Blue, I played those on Game Boy Color, and that kind of shaped a huge part of my childhood. So it's got to be Game Boy Color for me. Lock that in, GBC, baby. Let's go.
Game Boy Color from Coop. The GameCube was one of the coolest consoles. I never had one, but every time I went over to a friend's house that had one, it was so much fun to play. And just like the purple box was the design of it. Know what I mean? There's something that just like draws you into the GameCube. That being said, my first device that was my own and not my dad's that I got to play, like he had an N64, he had a Super Nintendo, was my Game Boy Color with Pokemon Yellow that I got for my 5th birthday. And I still have that Game Boy sitting right there. And I play it still to this day. Every once in a while, I take it out and I play one of my old school Pokemon games. It's got to be the Game Boy Color. That thing has lived forever. Yeah, there we go. We got one sitting right there. I'm rolling with the Game Boy Color. JL, what are you doing here?
This one is tough. This one is tough because I also did not own a GameCube, but I think GameCube is probably one of the best consoles ever made, just in the sense of like important games on it, like the level of versatility in the games. But Game Boy Color was so pivotal to my life. It was so important. I got my first Game Boy Color when I was in the hospital. I was 5 years old in the hospital. My dad bought Game Boy Color for my sister and I and Pokemon to keep my spirits up while they were trying to figure out what was wrong with me. And so it's such an important part of my life. But I think GameCube is probably a more important console. I still have to go Game Boy Color here. I got to follow my heart.
JL, I'm right there with like. I agree with you. I think the GameCube probably is the better console. Maybe one of the greatest ever made, like you said.
Tough matchup, man. The other thing that I loved about the GameCube was how portable it was compared to all the other ones.
Yeah,
the other ones
had a handle.
Like exactly the handle and the box shape is like when I was picking up my PlayStation, I felt like I was picking up a serious device, and like you couldn't move it around or mess it up. The GameCube, I feel like you could throw that thing against the wall and then just like plug it back.
There's little mini discs.
Yeah.
If I forgot we don't have if I so much just breathed on my Xbox, it would destroy whatever game was in the disc tray. Just freaking ring the hell out of it, and then I can never play Fable 3 again.
And then you get the red ring of death. Yeah, I just remembered that I held up a Game Boy. Meanwhile, I know that no one can see us. So sorry about that, everyone. Let me describe what it looks like, a Game Boy.
Michael said you know what else is portable? The Game Boy Color.
Arguably more so than the GameCube.
Good point.
All right.
Kick
Michael out of the chat. Get out of here.
Our semifinal matchups have been decided. It's going to be the PS5 versus the Nintendo Switch and the Nintendo 64 and the Game Boy Color. We are going to finish this bracket after the break. Try to get these technical issues resolved for you real quickly. You're watching the Front Yard Fantasy Morning Show here on Better Sports Network.
Lunch Money with Kyle and Ray. Weekdays at noon Eastern, presented by FantasyGuru.com.
If I ever die on air here, we'll know it's because I'm sitting so much, okay? Anybody thought about that, by the way, Ray? We do all this stuff, and I'm not just wondering. This is how my mind works, Ray. Will our producers, Heather and Josh, like, if I just go, well, like, all of a sudden, will you just go full screen?
Yeah, they're like, oh, it's happening. Ray, take it. Yeah.
Are the emergency mechanisms in the booklet that we give our producers what to do if on air, on camera, Kyle passes out or suffers a heart attack?
Yeah, call the ambulance and Ray, keep talking. That's what they would do.
The Playbook with Fensty and Ronis, presented by FantasyAlarm.com. Weekdays at 5 Eastern.
I think that people have gotten better at fantasy over the years. There's so much information out there that there's not as many casual players anymore. If you're talking casual player, okay, someone who's in an office league and that's their only league and they do it for camaraderie, okay, fine. People have gotten better over the years. Even the casual leagues are more sharp now. There's so much information, they can go anywhere to consume it. They can sit and listen to this show or other shows on this network. There's so many ways to consume content now that the casual players are better. This is not 10 years ago when there wasn't as much. Now it is saturated. You can go anywhere and find information. So if you want to take 10 minutes, 15 minutes out, you can find information. So players are more sharp. You're not going to get players sitting on the waiver wire for 3 weeks like 10 years ago.
Better Sports Live with Rick Kamla, weeknights at 7 Eastern.
Justin Henry hanging out with Rick Kamla on Better Sports Live. So you have the hat on, Justin. So I presume you are a huge Bengals fan. Oh, you're not a Bengals fan?
The hat in the back, the Niners stuff, baby. I just had the hat on. You see the Niners stuff there in the back?
I do.
I'm a Cali guy.
Okay, so you're a 49er fan. So you just like the look of the Bengals hat,
yeah.
or are they your AFC team?
Nah, this is solely a look. I mean, you see the hat. The hat is so clean, man.
It is.
This is one of those must purchases.
I love it. What other hats do you have that are must purchases? Like it just puts the ensemble all together. If you're going with a green look or a red look or a what are those must-have hats?
Yeah, I feel like the Dodgers hat, that blue Dodgers is like a must-have as well. It's just a staple. You got to have a New York, even if you're not from New York, you got to have a Yankee hat in there, the NY. I love the baseball hats too. A lot of the baseball hats, even like the Marlins used to be that Florida Marlins M with the colors used to be dope.
Yep, for sure.
And then football, I really only like the Bengal hat and then the Niners hat for me. That's love, man. As long as you got a smooth black hat with some white, you can mix it up with the fits. That's what I go for.
I like it. I like it a lot.
Join the show with one touch of a button. It's Sports Talk 3.0 on Better Sports Network.
What's up, everyone? Welcome back to the Front Yard Fantasy Morning Show here on Better Sports Network. I believe the technical issue should be fixed. You should be seeing some video over there on our YouTube channel now, and I'm seeing it now. We got the three of our faces back up there, guys. So our apologies for that, but yeehaw, we are back.
Oh, yeah.
Seeing our pretty faces on
Jell,
YouTube.
you can smile now. We're back. Oh, that's a frowny.
Well, guys, we got our next matchup, our semifinal matchups here, PS5 and Nintendo Switch and N64 and Game Boy Color. So the new school consoles versus the old school on the other side.
Dustin asked, did we ever say what number Coop was holding up?
Dude, nobody got it. Dude. You guys,
it's always two.
Nick
I actually said two. Nick did get it. You're right. I said it right when you held it up too. I don't think anyone heard me though.
Maybe they just thought you were saying two, like a bird noise.
I do often say two like a bird.
We do make bird noises more than we say the number two on this show, probably. The Eagles being in the Super Bowl really raised that number of bird noises up. Well, I got the first vote here, PS5 versus Nintendo Switch. And I said it in the first round, I've never played the PS5. The Nintendo Switch, I think the Wii U walked so the Nintendo Switch could run. Nintendo was trying to figure out the perfect console, and the Wii U was a cool console. I was hyped when I saw it, but it wasn't
the Wii U,
but it wasn't quite there yet. It was almost there. They were figuring out the portable versus home console thing. Like one person could play on the handheld device while other people played with controllers on the TV. Like they almost got it, but then with the Switch, they nailed it. I still haven't gotten over the novelty of I can just pull the console out of my device and start playing. Like every time I do it,
convenient.
Every time I do it, I think this is so cool. Like, how did they come up with this? And then the modularity of the controllers, like I can play with a half of one. We can plug them in and play with double. We got lots of guests. Everyone gets a little one. It's just me and my girlfriend. We're playing with the Pro controllers. Pro controllers are dead. We slide the Joy-Cons into the thing and we got a dual controller like that. You can play them like this. Too bad
the Joy-Cons are garbage.
That's the one problem.
It's the one flaw. Well, it's not the Switch, but it's a big flaw. Yeah, they cost $80 to replace them, and they're garbage. They break all the time.
They get drift like crazy. Nintendo,
they wear down.
To their benefit, will replace them for free, but you have to sign up online, have them send you a shipping label, print out the shipping label, attach it to a box, put your Joy-Cons in there, take the box to the post office to be sent, wait for them to fix it 2 to 4 weeks, have them
at the post office.
At the post office. Nintendo has a deal where they train all USPS postal carriers to be able to be Nintendo Switch repair people
takes them
as
4
well.
weeks.
And that's why your mail's late as well.
Dude, that sounds like a nightmare, but at least they're free, dude. Like with the Xbox ones, but basically the way it works with Xbox is you buy a controller and you play 3 games of NHL. And by the end of that, you'll know if you got a good controller or a bad controller because your controller will be broken. And if it's broken, you have to change it. And you have to, if you didn't get the insurance, you have to pay for it. And if it's not broken after 3 games of NHL, then it'll live forever.
I love that. Instead of like fixing the problem with their controllers, they just offer you the chance to buy insurance. Like we know some of them are going to break, but you can buy it back up if you want.
I was grandfathered in at the $10 price for the longest time to the point where like, all my buddies, like my brother-in-law and Meat Mansion, whenever they would break a controller, I would just go and swap them out. But they figured that out after about like 20 controllers or so. Now
Scott Fish
I'm
says
off.
he replaces the parts in his own Joy-Cons to make them sturdier. Teach me your ways, Scott. Make a video.
I had no idea. You're
Would
so
not
handy.
doubt that.
I once, I think I told this story on stream before, but I once modded my Xbox 360 controller for Call of Duty.
Faster shooting.
For faster shooting, yeah. It's Call of Duty, I think, is right around the Gears of War time, but I wasn't very good at that. I learned just from YouTube, and so I didn't know how to get a hole in the plastic of the controller, like the outer shell, and so I just burned a hole with the soldering gun. And then put the switch through it and taped it, and it worked. It 100% worked. It was just the plastic. They were like, it was already disassembled.
As long as you made the connection, it doesn't have to be pretty.
No, it was super ugly. It was like scotch taped in, but it worked.
And I'll tell you this: I've said this before on the show. It's a lot easier to take apart a controller than it is to correctly put it back together. A lot of little pieces in there.
Yeah, just like the washing machine. Also, soldering gun, very difficult. It feels like anyone who explains it kind of skips over the most important step of it, which is like how to do it.
I 100%. Like junior year of college, it seems like at some point lab TAs and professors just assumed all electrical engineering majors knew how to use a soldering gun, and they would just like put it in front of us, and I'm like, okay, I'll do my best.
It feels very like it feels like it should be way more precise than it is. It is not very precise art.
I remember I showed up at my first job out of college, and they asked me, like, one of the electrical engineers was out sick and they needed something done, and I was a project manager, but they were like, oh, you're an electrical engineer fresh out of college.
Hop in.
Surely you can solder all of these resistors under a microscope to this board. Like resistors so small, I was under a microscope trying to, and I really broke a couple things first before I got a good board out of that one. I think they were thinking it was going to be a 30-minute task, and they sent my ass in there, and I'm like, yeah, I can do this. And then I get under the microscope, and I'm like,
later.
Exactly. I'm like, oh dear
Every
God.
post office has a Simon fixing your Joy-Con.
Every time. Well, I'm voting Nintendo Switch here. It is just my dream console. It's everything I want in a console. I don't know what they're going to do next. I get nervous because Nintendo, I've always been excited for the next Nintendo console. This time I'm nervous because they are known for really switching things up and changing the look of their consoles. Just look at the evolution of them compared to the PS5 and the Xbox One, right? I don't want them to change too much because I love it. I'm voting the Nintendo Switch. John Luke, where are you going here?
Again, this is tough. I think PS5 is probably, if you're looking at it objectively, the better console here. It has better games. Like the Switch has such a subset of games that is so specific to it that it does alienate it a bit. Like I don't pick up my Switch if I want to play a more traditional game. But I play Switch so much, and my PS5 just sits there most of the time. Probably because Maria likes a lot of Switch games. I'm gonna go Switch.
Switch, shout out Overcooked.
And I can carry it.
Overcooked is also on Xbox and PlayStation, but that's okay.
It is.
I know my vote doesn't matter here, and I know that Xbox already got eliminated, which the chat is already pretty up in arms about that.
Are they? I just see Scott
Tim's
Fish
not
talking
about it.
The people already left. We actually lost half of our viewers when you guys eliminated the most recent Xbox console.
Would have thought that happened when the stream broke.
Also, Scott Fish saying the Switch, it's a flat square. Cut a small piece to fit, put back together. Yeah, we can do that. Okay, and the PS5 is just a square.
That's
no. It's like a rhombus thing.
The interesting thing about halves is
it a
that
rhombus?
you can have something almost unlimited number of times. So we lost half our audience when Simon said lick our hogs.
I was totally on a different conversation.
Oh, sorry.
I completely forgotten about that conversation. I was like, what do you mean half?
So speaking of getting back to the conversations, we're voting PlayStation 5 versus Nintendo Switch.
Yeah.
PlayStation 5 for me right now is a placeholder for Xbox. They're kind of the same thing. The most recent generation console. I use mine for literally everything. Like I use mine to watch movies, TV. Like mine is a lot more than just a video game console at this point, which is why I would have wanted to have Xbox still in or PlayStation still in, because I'm not using a Game Boy Color or N64 to watch Survivor. You know what I mean? But since Nintendo Switch is already going on, let's move on. But I vote for PlayStation, which is just a placeholder vote for Xbox.
You know what? now that I think about it, the PlayStation has one feature that makes it better than almost every other game console.
What's that?
You can play music while you game. And that is a
Correct.
huge plus for me because, as you guys know, I love listening to music while I do stuff. So I think I'm going to make a switch here. I think I'm going to go PlayStation.
Oh, he just pulled a Nintendo
Before-
Switch on us.
Before you do that, JL, let me just
Uh-huh.
tell you one of my favorite things to do. I like to play Fall Guys, but you don't really need the audio for that game. I'll sit on my couch, I'll put my AirPods in, and instead of having to use the device that I'm trying to play a game on as well to control the music, I just press play on my phone on the playlist with my AirPods in while playing some Fall Guys on the Switch. You don't need it to be in the device.
See, like
Fall-
that works
Fall
for
Guys-
Fall
Fall
Guys,
Guys-
where you don't need the audio. But
Fall Guys
there
is
are
also
a lot of
on-
games where you want the audio. I at least I want the audio. Like I'm playing Spider-Man. I want to listen to what the dialogue is, or I want to hear those punch sounds. You know what I mean? And if I'm wearing AirPods, I can't. Like I have to choose one or the other. I like that PlayStation. You can decide to listen to both.
My
Not to
point was
mention-
not about the console that Fall Guys is on at all. It was solely about listening to music while
Listen to
playing
music
the
while
Switch.
playing, right.
Yeah.
No,
If
and
you
it
could
makes
sub
sense.
any game in there.
Yeah, and
But
Fall
just-
Guys, I would do that. I wouldn't have a problem with it because I don't care about the whoa, wow, whatever sounds from Fall Guys. But there
Fall
are
Guys
games
is
where I really
overcooked
like
up.
it.
There are exclusive games to Switch though, like Animal Crossing is
Yeah.
exclusive.
There's
That's
a lot
what's
of most of the Nintendo games which are important.
all the Marios, all the Zeldas, they're all
So
on there.
Pokemon.
which one are we sending on? Which one's going?
PS5, I made my Switch.
You son of a gun. That is sacrilege. The Nintendo Switch, the PS6 is going to come out and no one's going to give a shit about the PS5 ever again. People will care about the Switch forever. It innovated on the console. The PS5 is like, how about some better graphics? Like the Switch said it was innovative with shitty graphics. Like it has the worst graphics on here,
No,
yet it
hey.
sold more than any of the other consoles.
Why are
here.
you still
I'm just
talking about why are you still talking
flabbergasted.
about consoles that have been eliminated already?
I'm
I
just
just now realized that PS5. I own a PS4. Whoops.
I know it's
Do you want to
eliminated.
switch
This
back?
is
Do you want to
my-
switch
this is
back?
my
No.
rant.
No.
This is my rant. I think a grave mistake has been made eliminating the Nintendo Switch. But we're moving on to the next round. Nintendo 64 versus Game Boy Color. Who's got the first vote
They
here?
jail this one.
Jail, you got the first vote. Where are you rolling here?
Oh boy. I'm gonna go with oh god, I'm gonna get dragged for this one. I'm gonna go N64 actually. I played more games on N64. I think Game Boy Color is probably more important to my life, but N64 was pretty important. Smash Bros, GoldenEye, pretty
Pokemon
fun.
Coliseum. Did you guys ever play that
Oh,
one?
I love Pokemon Coliseum.
Jail, I
Pokemon
think you
Snap.
honestly, on that one, you said it perfectly. Is that like if I had to pick the one that was most important to my childhood, it would be Game Boy Color. But N64 has something that Game Boy Color doesn't really have. Like Game Boy Color,
A third handle on the controller.
we got quite a few things now.
3 hands.
You can play it on a TV, right? You can,
What a like wild design decision. Like to go out on a limb and be like, you know what? Let's add a third handle.
right? Like ridiculous.
Super
By the way,
courageous.
It works.
Y'all seen like King Neptune's trident?
Let's make it like that.
What if we just rip the head off of that and turn it into a
Turn it
controller?
upside down. Turn it into a controller.
Yeah, they probably really thought that humans are gonna have 3 hands in the future. They're like, we're so far ahead. We're
Like,
so far
yeah,
ahead.
Innovative.
Darwin. Yeah, they got the charts. They're like, look, bing, bang, boom. But yeah,
2006.
the thing is with Game Boy Color, like I can still fire up Pokemon. But most of those other games, I guess Tetris is forever, but like a lot of those other games, man, I'm not gonna pop back in and play, Pokemon Pinball or any of those other games. Whereas N64, I rattled off earlier a list of 5 games off the top of my head that I would play right now and have a ton of fun playing. Like, no matter, I don't care how many Tiger Woods they come out with, Mario Golf is its own standalone game that I love playing. Right, like Mario Party,
Sucks
awesome.
on Switch.
Super Smash Bros, perfect. And I can still play Super Smash Bros on Melee on the other consoles. I consider them to be different games. Right, like the fact that other Super Smash Brothers exist don't take away from the 64 Super Smash Brothers for me. So for me, N64 just has more longevity. I got to take that one.
Well, N64 is going to move on. And I hear the reasoning. I just want to give some respect to the Pokemon, or sorry, I was about to say to the Pokemon Color, to the Game Boy Color,
Pokemon
but
Color.
it really was the Pokemon device for me. I played almost exclusively Pokemon Yellow, Pokemon Blue, Pokemon Silver, Pokemon Crystal on those devices.
I played a lot of games on Game Boys.
I've got memories of staying up like late, but the screen didn't have a backlight, so you either had to have one of those fancy little like Game Boy flashlights, or you had to like try to like hide by the window to get the street lights to light it up because your parents would yell at you if you turned on the light in the back seat of the car.
Why? The reflection. I never seen no reflection.
Yeah, me neither. But also that being said, I purposely don't drive at night anymore because the lights on the reflection because I can't see because the lights
blind me. So
lights blind me. And I don't have children, so no one's ever in the backseat of my car turning lights on. My vote's gonna go to the Game Boy Color for nostalgia. It was such a pivotal part. I remember bringing it to school and like hiding on the playground at recess in kindergarten, like doing Pokemon battles because we weren't supposed to have them. Like that's enough points to give it a vote for me. Nintendo 64 moving on though.
I'll put it this way. If you two had voted for N64 and I had the last vote, I would have tossed a vote at Game Boy Color. It deserves a vote. So I'm glad you stepped in and did the right thing.
I mean, Game Boy Advance, Game Boy SP, both those are getting kind of shafted in this bracket too.
I had the SP. I skipped the Advance and went straight to the SP.
Advance is lit.
I'm telling you right now, dude, if PlayStation 2 was on there, I would be pounding the table. Like
PlayStation 2 was on and I took it out because
smart.
Smart.
Yeah.
It feels pretty distinctive, so maybe it should have been in here because it doesn't feel the same as PS5. It was a very different console, whereas like PS4 to PS5 is kind of the same thing.
It had so many revolutionary games, like the
Tony Hawk 2, Tony Hawk 3.
Out of all the game consoles, I think PlayStation 2 had the most like massive versatile collection.
It changed so much,
so long. Yeah.
Like when I first saw
Madden, go to GameStop and it would just be packed with PlayStation 2 games all the time for years.
Yeah, and when I first saw Madden on that, I was like, "This is totally different." We talked about it in the other show, Grand Theft Auto 3, and that was the first time it showed up on PS2, and it changed from the 2-dimensional to the 3-dimensional. It was just like revolutionary game, time splitters, all these games. So I played more SOCOM 2 with the boys. Like if I could get that experience back somehow, man, I'd be on there right now, dude. Just me and the fellas.
I don't know. I've never quite been confident in whether I had a PlayStation 1 or just a PlayStation because I think there's a distinction, but I was too young to like recognize what that distinction is. Because whatever I played Grand Theft Auto 2 on was a silver PlayStation.
That was the original.
So we always tapped the PlayStation 1.
We tap the top and it opens up.
I think it had a button on the corner, like top of the corner that you hit. It's like a circular button, and then the top would pop off.
So exactly. Yeah. So that was PlayStation, but when PlayStation 2 came out, people retroactively started calling it PlayStation 1. So they are the same console. Yeah, it's just PlayStation, but once 2 came out, then people were like, okay, that's the one, and this is the 2 now.
So there's no like PlayStation 1.5.
Well, there's a slim
mini version.
It's kind of like when it the Switch
PS2
has the right, and then the Switch has the OLED version now, right? Like it's still the same generation console, but just the upgraded one.
Gotcha. Okay.
Still all the same games. We got our finals matchup now, guys. It is the PS5 versus the Nintendo 64, which means Coop. First vote's back to you, I believe. Where are you going?
Which is crazy that's back to me, man, because this is tough. Now, I want to hesitate from picking the modern console. Like, if I had to pick, like, because the thing with the modern console is what I said at last round is that I use it for like everything. Like all my media now just goes through. I always get the newest Xbox because like my wife uses it to watch her shows, right? Like we use it to.
Hey, get you an Apple TV.
Yeah, maybe I should get
a smart TV.
I got a smart TV. Well, the thing is, I have a smart TV, and the smart TV has Netflix, has all that on it. It's just easier for me to load up my Xbox and do it through there. Like we just do everything through there. It's easier.
I like how like as soon as we got the option to have like smart TVs or like have Netflix or any of these apps downloaded, all of a sudden we had like 15 different ways to do that.
Right. Yeah.
Do you want to use your smart TV? You want to use your Apple TV? You want to use your Xbox? You want to use your PlayStation?
Switch,
whatever. I think has YouTube.
You wanna Chromecast it from your phone onto your TV? Yeah, you wanna Chromecast it from your laptop onto your television? Do you wanna watch it on your laptop? Do you wanna plug your laptop in with an HDMI cable directly into the TV to watch it that way?
Right.
Exactly. So
it feels like you could always actually I don't know what I was saying. I had something and then it flew out of my head.
Feels like you always.
I think you, man. Always. You know what? given everything you just laid out and the fact that I don't need it to watch all those things in the modern era, I'm going to go with the N64 here.
Oh,
The N64. And I think the thing about it with at the end of the day for me is that with the new consoles, certain games, like to play Call of Duty, to pick up the stick to play Call of Duty, you had to, you don't have to have played this Call of Duty, but you had to have at least played for like a long time. You know what I mean? Like you have to to play the modern consoles, you have to know how the controller works. There are certain games on N64 where you can just sit down with anybody and play a game of Mario Party, right? You can sit down with anybody and play a game of Mario Kart, right? Like they might not win. Hey, maybe they get a lightning and they do win. But like it's so accessible that you can sit down with a crew of people and say, hey, you know what? Let's play N64, and they'll probably figure it out. Whereas like Xbox, PlayStation 5, they have the bigger barrier to entry. There's 1,000 buttons, and there's buttons on you gotta use the ones on the back, blah, blah, blah. Like N64 is the quintessential console that even today stands up and has a number of titles that I would play right now. So give me N64, it's the one.
Yeah, the least intimidating controller out of all of them too.
I guess, yeah. But once you figure out you don't need to use
controller out of all of them as well.
Once you tell them, like when you play, be like, okay, you only need the stick and these 2 buttons, then it's a little easier to handle.
What's sexier, the Nintendo 64 controller or the Wii controller?
Ooh,
good question, dude.
Wii controller's pretty sexy.
Pretty sexy, right?
With that strap,
I just never got
so you don't throw it against the wall.
I just
It
never
even
really got
came with
into
those like
it.
rubber cases.
Oh,
safe.
the rubber cases.
You know, like the big, like the big thick rubber cases. You know what I'm talking
Yeah,
about? They're like made
exactly.
it
It's
so
like gel.
bulky. Yeah, like
It's
the
feels
gel.
like you're grabbing a tube of toothpaste.
Tim said the Nintendo 64 controller is objectively the most confusing
Yeah,
controller
easily.
ever. Scott Fish in here letting us know GoldenEye's on the Switch now as well. I might have to pull up some GoldenEye today. That would be pretty fun. I got the next vote here, Nintendo 64 versus PS5. I've never played a PS5, but what I'm kind of doing here is trying to be fair. The PS2 was maybe my favorite console ever growing up. The Nintendo Switch
Should've put
is my
PS2 in here.
favorite console now, like my favorite console of all time. And the Nintendo 64 is the predecessor to the Nintendo Switch. It walked so the Nintendo Switch could, no, it crawled so the Wii U could walk so the Nintendo Switch could run. We're just going to keep taking it back generations and generations. I got to go with the Nintendo 64. Did you guys have the game Hey You Pikachu? You could literally talk into a microphone and control Pikachu through the Nintendo 64. Like, that was sick, man. Nintendo's been doing wild shit forever. Like, when other people were just like figuring out how to put a CD in, Nintendo was like, here, shove this microphone into the bottom of your controller and then set up this extra pack on the outside that plugs into 3 memory card slots. And then you can scream at Pikachu to tell him to sit down.
I do love that. I do love that about Nintendo because it just feels like they could have so easily just been like, no, let's compete with with PlayStation and Xbox. You know, let's be the third big one. But they didn't do that. They just stuck to their identity, which I think is just like a really cool choice. You know what I mean? Even if I don't fully love it every time, that's dope.
I'm with you. My vote's going to Nintendo 64. John Luke, N64 is going to win this round unless Coop has a change of heart. But where's your vote going?
It's going N64. It's a classic, man.
All right,
It is a
let's do it.
classic.
I was gonna say if you were to turn around and say I'm voting for PS5 because of PS2, I would be like, okay, PS2.
I respect it.
PS2 swoops in and wins the bracket at the very end.
That would be fun. That would be funny if one of us just said, like, you know what? You guys can vote for whoever you want, but I'm voting for the PS2.
Write-in to the write-in ballot. Should we do? We're allowed write-in ballots. PS2
No, if we allow write-in
We can't
ballots,
open
this
that
game
can.
breaks.
Oh
Yeah,
my
this
God.
game absolutely breaks if we
Dude,
allow write-in ballots.
If we allowed
No
write-in
one
ballots,
for the options.
oh, the Tony bracket would have been an absolute disaster, dude.
Oh my God.
Would have been writing in players against each other. All right, yeah, no write-ins then. No write-ins.
Tommy said, I'm sorry. Did Atari not make the list?
No.
Nah, the classic hits like Pong and Pong and Pong
And Tetris.
and Pong also.
Tetris might have been a little too high level for the Atari. No Intellivision. Kevin Tompkins with a great comment. When aliens land on Earth and take a look at the N64 controller, they will immediately turn hostile.
Yeah, they're gonna think it's a weapon. They're
probably-
gonna think you're gonna go to hand it to them. Coop's gonna be like, "Hey, welcome to Earth. Want to play Mario Kart?" And they're gonna think you're like pointing a weapon at them.
What if there was a dude that, because there are people that have 3 arms. Like, what if they, like, during that era, a guy came out and he was just the best N64 player ever, just unstoppable.
I'm not sure how useful, like, that's pretty tight quarters for a third hand in there. Know what I mean? Like, I'm not sure how useful it would be.
There's some moves, bro. There's some moves. There's some games you'd be dominant at.
Maybe one day we can find out if there's the surgical enhancements. Once robotic arms are available, we'll get a third arm and see if that guy's good at Nintendo 64. Coming up, we got some more games coming your way, guys. We're going to play some poll perception and some fantasy feud as well. And we're going to pitch some of our best and brightest ideas to you in a segment we call Here's the Pitch. Right now, you're watching the Front Yard Fantasy Morning Show here on Better Sports Network.
Join Corey Nando and friends presented by Mayo Media weekdays at 3 Eastern on Better Sports Network.
Brock Purdy card's already $85.
That was me who sent that joint.
That was you?
Yeah, just Javon sent it to me, and I was shocked. So I shared it with the group, and I was like, "Why people spending their money on this trash? Like Brock Purdy cards going for $85? That's crazy.
Brock Purdy could be a Super Bowl.
This card is worth more than Justin Fields."
Hey man. Whether we like it or not, quarterback cards are worth way too much money, and he's not. I mean, don't you remember Bailey Zappi's cards went nuts for like
the same thing as the Bailey Zappi, Brock Purdy. So if you got a Brock Purdy in some place at the bottom of your shoebox, you could turn that into a quick $100.
Like how many? What do you think the population is on a PSA 10 Brock Purdy card?
Oh, it's probably not
4.
one because
who would send in the Brock Purdy cards?
Because of what's out with this class, that gold standard is out in this class. That's really it.
Certified.
There's no Kenny Pickett Prism. There's no Malik Willis Select. It's just like contenders certified.
Don Elite certified.
Oh, Don Elite. Oh, Elite is out. That's right.
Certified. Chronicles Prestige. In his college uniform, though.
Yeah.
Immaculate Collegiate. Rookie card auto out of 99. $31 college uniform. These are all college uniform Brock Purdy's.
Where did he go to college at?
I don't know, somewhere red. It looks like USC. Did he go to USC?
No, he didn't go to USC.
Iowa State.
Iowa State. Shout out to my boy Trevor Ray.
Brock Purdy from Iowa State leading the 49ers to the Super Bowl is everything that I want out of my life.
Yeah. I want to see him try that.
Brock Purdy 2022 certified blue auto out of 75.
What uniform? College uniform or pro uniform?
This is his. This is training camp. Looks like he's got 49ers on. 49ers uniform. Let me show you the card. Number 8 out of 75.
Mm-hmm.
How much do you think that bid is up to? It's got 40 bids on it. How much do you think it is?
40 bids on this got to be, what is it, about $90?
You, my friend, are off by a lot.
That's ridiculous. Oh, why couldn't I be dealt that hand?
Join Corey Nando and friends presented by Mayo Media weekdays at 3 Eastern on Better Sports Network.
What's up, everyone? Welcome back to the Front Yard Fantasy Morning Show here on Better Sports Network. We're about to get into some games, guys. We got some poll perception coming your way. Before we get into that, though, I did want to hit on one comment from Tim in here. Tim said, Nintendo was like, let's trick our fans by making egregious changes to consoles instead of changing anything about any of our games so they won't notice. And Tim, I don't think that's necessarily an unfair criticism. I do think some of the games have changed, but some of them, they've really phoned it in with the recent generation of sports games. I used to just buy every Nintendo Mario sports property that came out, and I'm not sure I'm buying the next one. They aren't hitting like $60 games anymore, Mario Tennis and Mario Soccer. So we'll see. I think that's a fair criticism of Nintendo if you got to criticize something.
Yeah.
You guys ready to get into some poll perception?
Let's do it.
Let's do it. Guys, the game of poll perception that we're about to play is the game that tests our contestants' understanding of the fantasy football landscape, of the public's perception of NFL and fantasy players and playing fantasy football in general. How it's going to work is I'm going to propose a poll to one of our two contestants. They're going to have to give me the percentage of people that they think chose the first option, side A, in that poll. The other contestant will then guess whether the actual answer is over or under that number. If they get that right, they will get 2 points. The closer you are whenever you're guessing the number, the more points you're going to get. You guys ready to jump in to the first round of poll perception?
Yep.
Random number generator. Jail.
Oh,
The random number generator landed on you today.
Jail was due,
Yeah. 50% chance every time. You got it that time.
Let's go.
Here is your first poll, JL. This one comes to us from our friend Alfredo Brown on Twitter at
Love
the
Alfredo.
GM. Alfredo wanted to know, what fantasy football base scoring format do you prefer? Side A, half PPR. Side B, PPR. Side C, non-PPR. What percentage of people said half PPR as their preferred scoring base format for fantasy football?
All right. If we break this down, starting out just 33% across the board. So there's three options, right? Non-PPR, PPR, half PPR.
Yep.
So 30. I got to believe non-PPR is not pulling equal weight here. And I would venture as far as to say it's probably 10% or less, which leaves us around 90% to work with the other two, which would bring them each up to 45. Half PPR, PPR. I think that's going to be pretty split. So I'll go with 44%.
44% from John Luke, locking that in.
Yeah.
44%. And guys, I see some guesses coming in the chat already. Kevin and Dustin throwing them in there. Everyone else, and Tommy, if you have not played this before with us, throw your guesses in the chat. We'll shout you out if you're right. We'll knock you if you're wrong. And we'll just react very neutrally if it's anything in between. Coop, you taking the over or under on Jail's guess of 44%?
Gotta say, man, you could tell Jail's a seasoned veteran. That breakdown, perfect. I always underestimate the number of people that do play standard. I know it's low, but I think 10% is right. Like in my mind, it's like 2% or 1%. But there's just a lot of people that have been playing this game for a long time. And it's hard to change, especially if you're playing with the same people every year. It's hard to get that changed. The one thing that I do think is I think that there are a lot of people that play full PPR. Like I'm always surprised by the number of people that default to full PPR versus half PPR. So I'm going to go under, though I think JL's logic is pretty damn good. And I wouldn't be surprised if the number was like 40, and then 10. Somewhere in the 40s, somewhere in the 40s, and then 10. I just think more people play PPR than half. Although I kind of feel like half is the best format, but my opinion doesn't matter. This is Twitter's opinion.
This is Twitter's opinion. Jail locking in 44%. Coop taking the under. We got some guesses in the chat. Tommy said 0%. Dustin said 30%. And Kevin saying,
Jeez, Kevin's answer of 16% absolutely just demolished.
I thought that's what he responded with was coughing fit.
It was Kev. Actually, Kevin's second comment was just a series of coughing and hacking, and he said, "Please take a sip of your drink," and then he said, "Please give a tip of your cap before you come back on."
16%. As I was saying, without any interruptions there. My apologies, guys. Choked on my own tongue.
Mm-hmm.
The actual percentage, guys, with guesses of 30, 16, and 0 in the chat. Jail's guess of 44%. Coop taking the under is 33% on the half PPR side. So, John Luke, you were 11 percentage points away, just outside of that 10 range for getting some extra
What was
points.
the breakdown?
Yeah,
I'll give it to you. You're going to get 1 point. Coop's going to get 2 for correctly picking the over-under. The least chosen answer, you guys pinpointed it, was non-PPR at 4%. Half PPR was the second most chosen answer at 33%, which leaves 63% left.
I tell you,
you're right.
The PPR is the new standard. It seems to be.
I would have thought that more, at least an even number of people would have gone half PPR, because it feels like generally people I talk to are split between the two, but clearly more PPR.
I think when we started playing JL, like like heavy. You know what I mean? Like I played in high school. I had like a league or two, but when we joined that league in 2015, I feel like that's when we really got into it. Half PPR was the standard. Like I feel like that's what people were playing.
Maybe it shifted over time.
I do feel like there's a shift, and maybe like our perception of half PPR is just as popular is because when we started playing, it was the standard, and now I do think it's shifted.
You want to hear my theory on that? Is that I think that there actually are more people that play half PPR than full PPR.
And Scott Fish, I think, is backing you up, and he comes in with a great point, which would have probably helped if I had found this line of reasoning prior to answering. He said, remember who posted it in time of year, meaning their audience paired with the time of year. So Alfredo's, who's a content creator and analyst, posting in February, it's more likely to get the people who are really into fantasy, and those people probably are more likely to play PPR. So that's a really good point, Scott.
I wore this bomber jacket in honor of Alfredo, who had not one but two dope bomber jackets at the SGA. So
and you're wearing that shirt in honor of Scott Fish, who's had not only 9 but 12 successful.
And you're
Scott
not
Fish
wearing
points.
underpants in honor of JL.
Not wearing underpants in honor of JL. Yeah.
10 dirty pairs of underwear.
Yeah, I've been wearing this Casio watch in honor of Kevin Frank. So yeah, just a lot of shouts. That's why I was so disappointed that the video was down for so long, but now you can see our angelic faces. But the thing is, so the casual gamer, because Yahoo defaults to half PPR, there probably are more people that play half PPR, but the sharp gamers that follow Alfredo Brown and the football guys, that's full PPR.
Well, John Luke, you're going to get 1 point. Coop, you're going to get 2, and we are going to move on to our next poll. Coop, are you ready?
Yeah.
Here is your poll. This comes from our friends over at BetMGM. So this is from BetMGM. The poll is, what do you follow the most once the NFL ends? Side A, the NBA. Side B, the NHL. Side C, college basketball. Or side D, other. So any other sport.
Ooh, this is difficult.
So side A, NBA. Side B, NHL. Side C, college basketball. Side D, other. What do you follow the most once the NFL ends? From BetMGM.
From BetMGM. So I think once again, like Scott said, the person asking, the context is very important. You Pete Carroll over there.
Yeah, what's Pete Carroll's favorite sports book?
Pete Carroll, the couch.
That's such a bad joke. What's Pete Carroll's favorite sports book?
That's so bad.
Oh my god. So yeah, you got to take the context. And as we learned at the Fantasy Sports Gaming conference, which isn't just about fantasy football, it's about betting, it's about everything, is that the most popular betting sport after football is basketball, right? And I will say I wish college basketball wasn't in here, because college basketball is where betting really shines. Like, this college basketball on all the time. Like, if you want to bet, if you're going to be a serious bettor, you can bet college basketball every day, all over the place. So I do think that the two basketballs are going to be the two highest ones. I also wish other wasn't in there. This is a hard poll. NBA as the first one in there, I think it's got to be at least 30% of the vote. And I wouldn't be surprised if college basketball was also in the 30% range. I'll go with 30. I'll go with 38% of people would pick NBA in this case.
38% on the NBA side. Locked in?
Lock it in. Lock it in.
Lock it in. John Luke, do you think the actual answer is over or under Coop's guess of 38%? Watch primarily NBA after football ends.
I think it's under, which makes me think I should go over. And I will go under.
JL thinks it's under, thinks he should go over, but is going under. Dustin guessing 26% in the chat. Throw your answers in the chat if you guys are playing along with us. The actual percentage of people who chose the NBA as the sport they follow most once NFL ends was 31%.
Wow.
31%. So, Coop, you were 7 percentage points away, going to earn you 3 more points, bringing you up to 5 points total. And, JL, you were smart sticking with the under there, going to get you 2 points, bringing you up to 3.
I would have been so mad if I swapped and then got it wrong.
It's interesting.
Gator in here said under. And good morning, fellas. Coming in
Morning,
with
Gator.
a right answer to start the day. Welcome
What
in,
up, Gator?
Glad to
I
have you.
I looked at my phone during the break and I saw Ani Coop had just texted me 3. And I was like, what is that? And then I realized she was trying to guess what number I was holding up like an hour ago. Yeah. So what were the totals, Simon?
So the highest one was actually college basketball at 35%. NBA was second with 31%. Third was NHL with 18%. And then other, almost equal with NHL at 16%.
I would have thought other would have got more.
Yeah, with it being so encompassing of
could be anything.
Right. And not to me, exactly, like that's just baseball's in there, right? Like I guess that is the case. But the thing is,
people probably didn't think of that though, because it just says other. It doesn't. You have to take the extra step.
Baseball hasn't started yet.
Yeah, exactly. They don't want people. MGM doesn't want people waiting for baseball. They want people gambling now on the sports that are happening right now. So
extreme underwater basket weaving,
college basketball,
cornhole.
Who do you think the best basket weaver has been this year? I know the season just started, but
Susan Carlisle, fantastic basket weaver.
Yeah, but her brother Dane Carlisle is really getting her a run.
The Daniac,
dude, they're like a family empire in the basket weaving industry.
I know Susan's beaten them 5 years in a row in the World Championship, but man, Dane's been putting in the work this year. Maybe his YouTube hype videos are just like coercing me a little bit, but I feel like this is the year that the Daniac.
It's just it's hard for me not to be biased as a Cleveland Weavers fan, but like
Weavers.
I think the Daniac is the best.
We'll see. We'll hopefully the Daniac can get it done. But watching Susan's dominance, it's like even if she wins another one, you just got to respect the game, right? You just got to respect it. Watching the GOAT in their prime is just unbelievable.
Yeah, Kevin Tompkins, great. He comes in and says Hank Basket. I mean, he is a legend. I think he's just a little past his prime,
OG.
Dude. Yeah, OG. A little too many. He's got a little too many paper cuts for the game.
Yeah, those fingers aren't smooth like they used to be.
Paper baskets.
You can see it in the basket. The baskets are coming out a little rough these days. Better in the chat, the basket cases are their favorite. Yeah, the Boston basket cases, which Coop, I'm surprised you're not a big fan there.
So that's the thing, is I've been a hometown guy forever, but it just, Jimmy Buckets just refuses to pay for top talent. Buckets. So I had to switch over to Cleveland, man. I know it's tough. Same division too, which is crazy.
Jimmy Buckets is such a good name.
For the owner of the Boston Basket cases. What are we talking about?
Jimmy Buckets.
I think we're playing.
God, I want my name to be Jimmy Buckets.
One day, Jay, one day, if you work really hard, your name can be Jimmy Buckets.
I just have to channel my inner Chosen Anderson.
Okay, guys, we're going to move on to our next poll here. Dale, this one's coming to you. Sorry, Jimmy Buckets. This one's coming your way. If we say it enough times, it becomes
Jimmy
reality.
Buckets.
Yeah, you're Jimmy Buckets for the rest of today, at least.
I'm going to call myself that anytime I play basketball.
JB. Introduce yourself. His name's JB. You can call me Buckets if you want.
Call me Buckets, bro. That dude, Buckets. The dude that shows up at the Y with a headband and like the armbands. That's Jimmy
like a giant jug of water.
Doesn't carry your gym stuff in a book bag. Carries a pail with like your cell phone and your water bottle and your little towel hanging out of the side. You walk in and
Buckets.
It says Jimmy's Bucket on it.
Jimmy Buckets.
Jimmy Buckets. Jimmy's Bucket.
It's monogrammed.
Yeah, it just says
JBJ.
What's Jimmy Bucket's middle name? Jay?
Jimmy.
Jimmy Buckets.
Jimmy Buckets. Dude.
Here's your next poll, JL.
His name's E. His middle name initial is E, and his first name is Jim. JYM. He lives in the gym. Jim E. Buckets.
Dale, here is your next poll. This one comes from, who knows? It's a mystery. It's a mystery.
Mystery poll.
I love that account.
Who had the best Super Bowl halftime show? Side A, Beyonce. Side B, Lady Gaga. Side C, Katy Perry. Side D, Madonna. What percentage of people chose Beyonce? So of these four, who had the best Super Bowl halftime show? Beyonce, Lady Gaga, Katy Perry, Madonna. What percentage of people said Beyonce?
I'm not going to lie. I only remember Beyonce's halftime show. I don't remember any of those other people's halftime
There was
shows.
the newspaper article in the Tiger at Clemson when Katy Perry did hers because she came out on a giant animatronic tiger that was built by a Clemson engineer.
Really? I didn't know.
That one was tight.
That.
That one, I did like Katy Perry's. But dude, the Lady Gaga one was actually sick too. The famous thing that she did is she started it by actually jumping from the top of the stadium. You know, remember she had like bungee jumps from the top of the stadium.
How am I not remembering?
Dude, they're amazing. There's an amazing GIF.
I like Lady Gaga.
I'll send you the GIF. There's like one of my favorite GIFs to use on Twitter is like her making this face and then she just like jumps off the building.
That's terrifying.
Oh, it's awesome, dude.
All right, so there's 4 options here. Beyonce, I think, was the most recent, right? I think that's right. I have to believe Beyonce won this poll. I'm going to go 35%. 3-5 and straight vibing.
3-5 and straight vibing for John Luke on the Beyonce side. Coop, what percentage of people do you think chose Beyonce out of these 4 musical acts?
This mystery account, I'm guessing it's like an E or something like that because like when people talk about the greatest all time, you have to talk about like Prince. You have to talk about like Michael Jackson. So I think they're pretty specifically targeting an audience or just, it's only female
pop stars. Yeah, female pop stars.
Yeah. So, and knowing the internet, you gotta lean into Beyonce. Like beyond the Beehive on Twitter. I mean, they might even come after me if I go too low here. The Beehive on Twitter will come after you. The Swifties on Twitter, they'll come after you. So you got to be real careful with that. So I'm gonna go over on Beyonce. I wouldn't be surprised if this was like 90% on Beyonce. She has the Twitter. She got the Twitter army out there. Let's just say.
Coop taking the over. Joe guessing 35%. We got Nick guessing 42% in the chat. Gator with 46% and Tommy guessing 23% over in the BSN chat. Well, guys, the actual percentage of people that chose Beyonce in this poll was 40% exactly on the dot. So, John Luke, you were within 5, which is going to earn you 5 points for being that close. Coop, you're going to earn an additional 2 points for getting that correct, bringing JL ever so slightly into the lead, 8-7 after that one. Shout out Nick and Gator for being real close on that one, 42 and 46. You guys nailed it. Nice job,
Justin
my friends.
said 2%.
Wrong. Shout out Jimmy Buckets.
That was so egregious that I assumed it must have been not related to this poll.
Only,
2%.
Or he's just making a point.
Jimmy Buckets is like, he's at the Y. He's like, if I shoot from here, it's worth 5. That's how you just hit that 5-pointer.
100%. The rest of these broke down. Lady Gaga had the second most votes at 38%, Katy Perry third most at 17, and then Madonna down at 5. And that probably just amounts to the least people remembering the Madonna one.
I don't remember the Madonna one.
That.
What year was that?
There's just not a lot of Madonna fans on Twitter. You got to also like people are. I doubt anyone remembers them. They're just like Beyonce. Click.
Lady Gaga was a Falcons Patriots Super Bowl. That makes sense because I was distracted during that one. I was talking to someone during that halftime show.
2012 was Madonna, LMFAO, Nicki Minaj, MIA, and CeeLo Green.
Why do I remember CeeLo Green? Was that like when the Forget You song came out?
Yeah, that was a banger, dude. I just remember
that did play a lot.
I remember CeeLo Green showing up to the award shows and the most ridiculous stuff, like wearing like all gold, like an entire suit made of gold. Like
I don't think that's even ridiculous for that like venue.
I guess
that's like the whole point of that thing is like come show in ridiculous fashion.
I guess that's true. Lady Gaga showed up wearing a dress made of meat that one time.
Yeah, I don't think it's like a show up in your sweatpants type of thing.
I'll tell you. If you see this,
I'm just imagining wearing meat, and it is freaking me out, man.
It's
just
disgusting.
There's a picture of Eminem when he first runs into Lady Gaga wearing the meat thing, and he's got that exact look on his face. Like,
just grossed out. I love Lady Gaga, but I'm gonna stay away if she's dressed in meat. I'm gonna love her from a distance.
I think if you saw this. I think if you saw this CeeLo Green gold setup, though, you'd be like, okay, that's maybe a little different.
I'm all about that. As long as it doesn't attract flies, I'm pretty fine with your outfit choices. Like that's as long as your clothes won't rot when left in the sun.
Dude, flies are the most vile creatures. I'll
They
never
are pretty
forget.
nasty.
I'll never forget my entomology teacher at Clemson telling us she would 10 times out of 10 rather have a cockroach walk over her food than have a fly land on her food. She said they are
vomit when they
so much
land.
cleaner
Yeah, they go like
than
throw
flies.
up. Yeah, I
Flies
don't like
land
that.
and shit. So them just landing on your food immediately puts shit particles on your food.
Okay, next topic.
Disgusting, right?
It's kind of like me. I when I wake up in the morning, I land in shit. Like the second my feet touch the ground, you better watch out. You better hope your food's not next to my bed. Well, guys, we got our next poll here. And Coop, this one's coming your way. Are you ready for it?
Absolutely.
Okay. If you had to choose a QB for your team the next 3 years, who would it be? Side A, Aaron Rodgers. Side B, Lamar Jackson. What percentage of people chose Aaron Rodgers in this poll?
Who asked this question? Can we know, or is it a mystery one again?
It's a mystery one.
Aaron Rodgers fan 72 in Wisconsin. I think Lamar Jackson Lamar Jackson has to win, right? Like, so immediately, if you're saying 50-50, I got to move the needle towards Lamar Jackson. The question is how far I'm going to move it. They do preface it with next 3 years, which I don't know if people even care enough about that, but it does help Rodgers a bit. But this should be like 80% on Lamar Jackson. I'm gonna go, unless people are gonna be like racist. It's like he's just as good, if not better, and he's a lot younger. You have him for longer. Give me 82 on Lamar Jackson, and I'll make JL say under if he wants to.
82% on the Lamar Jackson side. John Luke, you going with over or under Coop's guess?
Can you lay out the poll for me one more time?
Absolutely. The poll was worded: if you had to choose a QB for your team the next 3 years, who would it be? Side A, Aaron Rodgers. Side B, Lamar Jackson.
And you went 82%?
82. Lamar. Oh, no. So side A is Aaron Rodgers, so I want 28% on Aaron Rodgers. I want 82% on Lamar Jackson.
That would be 18%.
Like I said, 18%.
So Coop's locked in with 18%
28.
on the Aaron Rodgers side.
Oh, okay. 18. Oh, God, that's annoying. I really wanted you to go 82% because that was going to be so easy.
Would have been easy.
I'll take the over.
I think that's fair.
The over. John Luke taking the over.
We'll want to go Aaron Rodgers
on 18%. Dustin in the chat gets some 48%. And some breaking news from Kevin saying Aaron Rodgers has returned from his darkness retreat. No, really.
Ooh.
He's out there. And Tommy's saying 99% Jackson, 1% Aaron Rodgers, since he's now able to vote for himself since he's out of his darkness retreat. Arose from the dark just to vote.
What I forgot, though, is that I forgot to factor in the haters. There's just enough haters for Lamar Jackson, and there's enough Steelers fans that are like, click, click, click.
Well, the actual percentage of people that chose Aaron Rodgers over Lamar Jackson in this poll was 25%. 25% after that one, which means, Coop, you are going to get 3 points for being within 10, bringing you up to 10. And JL, you are going to get 2 points for correctly picking the over-under. Also bringing you up to 10. Also bringing you up to 10. We got one more round to determine the winner here. You guys ready?
Is this the final one or is this mine?
We got 2 more. This one's yours. Then Coop will have one more, and then we are done. Unless you guys just want to do one final round right here. Whoever's closer. You guys write a number down. Whoever's closer gets it.
I need to get another shot.
That's how we used to. That's how we used to do it. We used to do the old write down mode.
Well, that's the last round. That's just the final round.
Are we still doing that?
We still do that, yeah.
Okay. We used to do that. We still do, but we used to.
Yeah, that's true.
Okay, well, here is your next poll, John Luke. Here's your next poll. Did Baker Mayfield do enough with the Rams at the end of the season to start for a desperate team in 2023? This comes from our friend Jeff Bell on Twitter. Side A is yes. Side B is no. Again, the question is, did Baker Mayfield do enough with the Rams at the end of the season to start for a desperate team in 2023? Side A, yes, and side B, no.
Now, when I hear this, or when I would read this, I would think I would key in on the word desperate team. Well, just the word desperate, I guess. That adjective to describe the team makes me think, yeah, probably. The answer's probably yes.
It changes the way you think about it. That Jeff Bell.
I don't know that Twitter is the best at reading comprehension, which makes me think they probably didn't even really consider that adjective there. They probably just thought, is Baker Mayfield good enough to be a starter? And so I'm going to go with 54%.
54% from John Luke. Coop, do you think the actual percentage of people that said, yeah, we'll give him a shot is over or under JL's guess of 54%?
And 54% is a yes.
Yes.
Man, I like splitting the middle on this one. Part of me wants to just queen bee it, but I think there are enough. I think there are enough.
Never.
I know.
Wait, no,
haven't hit it on this show. Oh no! You hit one on the dot, but it wasn't queen bee. I gotta go. I think Twitter is just such a hateful place.
We need to get like some crazy like confetti and like pyrotechnics for whenever that does happen.
Yeah.
We just need to have that installed so that it's ready.
Yeah, ready to pop in all our houses.
Burn my house down in celebration.
Yeah. I think the default on Twitter is to hate, so I'm going to go with no. I think no might even win this poll. It's close enough, so I'm going to go under.
Under from Coop. Coop taking the under. JL going 54%. We got some answers in the chat. Dustin with 44%, Kevin with 38%, and I see Mr. Scamper showing up in here with 69%.
Scampers.
What's up, Scamps? Gator going with 66,
Yeah.
Victor going with 31, and I think I hit all of them right there. I think I got all the guesses. Well, guys, the actual percentage of people that chose yes in this poll was 46%. 46%. So JL,
Good guess.
with your guess of 54%, you're within 10, which is going to earn you 3 points, bringing you up to 13. Coop, you are going to get 2 points for correctly picking the over-under, bringing you up to 12, and this game is still neck and neck.
I knew JL did too good of a job on that one. That was in a tough spot.
Dang, should have went the other direction though.
You almost had it. Almost had it. Joey coming in, wow, with 46%. Unbelievable.
Wow,
Incredible.
Joe, you're so smart.
Coop, you ready for your next poll?
Yeah.
Let's do it. Here is your poll. Dynasty price check. Who do you prefer in Dynasty? Jalen Waddle or Stephon Diggs? What percentage of people said Jalen Waddle? Comes from our friend Dave Heilman over at Dynasty Dorks.
Hey, Dave, what up?
On Twitter.
That's a good poll because it's a one of those ones where if you were to say who'd you rather have in redraft, it's Diggs. But Diggs is 29 and Waddle is like 23, 22. Yeah, I think he's 23.
Oh, wait, is this the last one?
We'll do the final poll where you're both guessing after this. Because you went first.
So okay, my bad.
Yeah,
my whole reasoning for not doing the last one in this poll was wrong then. My bad.
Yeah, this time of year, the people skew towards dynasty and they skew towards young players, right? Like if it's during the season, I feel like if this poll was in the middle of the season, they'd be like, I want Diggs. You know, you should want the better player during the season. But during the off season, now all of a sudden you'll start looking at ages. Oh, Diggs is 29, Waddle's 23. I think Waddle's gonna be in front for this in dynasty. He just had 1,400 yards too. So it's not like he played 1,300 or something like that. 1,378, somewhere in that range. I would say that Waddle's going to be at least 60%. Maybe I'm going to go 62% of the people are going to pick. No, I'm going down to 58% people pick Waddle. It's going to be close, but people should be picking Waddle.
58% from Coop. John Luke, do you think the actual answer is over or under Coop's guess of 58% here?
It's just Waddle and Diggs, right?
Waddle and Diggs.
Just the two.
I'll take the over.
JL taking the over here on Coop's guess of 58%. We had some more guesses in the chat. Guesses piling in. Mr. Scamper's coming in with 89%. Gator with 56. Joey guessing 70. Dame with 77. Dustin with 72. Victor with 69.69%. Nice point. Nice. and Tommy guessing 64% over here in the BSN chat. And Tommy also said Waddle and Diggs, name of a duck egg farm.
Waddle and Diggs, duck egg farm.
Kind of like that.
That's pretty funny.
Or a children's cartoon about a mole and a duck that are best buds.
Yeah.
Waddle and Diggs.
I like
Oh
that.
my
They're detectives.
It's so pleasant. I could just picture Waddle. It's like a Sherlock Holmes spinoff, but Sherlock Holmes is a duck and Watson is a mole.
I think you just
Okay.
I think you just created something beautiful.
Coop, let's get the pilot episode written up and get that out there. The actual percentage of people, guys, that chose Jalen Waddle over Stephon Diggs was, shout out Tommy, 64%, exactly on the nose. Coop, you were so close when you were at 62% that you moved out of the 5-point range and into the 3-point range, which is going to bring you up to 15. And JL, perfect over-unders through the entire game. Nobody missed a single over-under. This has been one of the more impressive games of poll perception I think we've ever played. And the score's tied 15-15 as we go into our final poll.
What this proves is JL and I are just terminally online. Just criminally online, dude.
We got our fingers in the pulse.
Well, guys, get your pen and paper ready because here is your final poll.
I need like a big marker.
This question comes to you from BuzzFeed.
Perfect.
They want to know, Sith or Jedi? What percentage of people chose Sith in this poll?
And you know,
Sith
only
or Jedi.
You got to remember that only evil people follow BuzzFeed.
I'll do some Star Wars impressions while we're waiting. Oh, answer polls, you must. That was Yoda, in case you needed help there.
Lisa, forget to sign my lineup. I got my answer.
That was Jar Jar Binks.
That was Jar Jar.
Or was that Padme? I always get this too.
Padme. Lisa, forget to sign my lineup. Yes, the illustrious character Padme.
Whenever you did that, I was picturing Padme just mocking the shit out of Jar Jar Binks. Like they're playing each other in fantasy and she's to beat him and she's just in his face like,
Lisa, forget to sign my lineup, dumbass.
Lisa drafted Hayden Hurst.
And
you guys got your answers?
Boss Nass comes in like, you saw no place on PPR.
I love that guy. Jaw, jaw.
You guys got your answers?
Yeah.
BuzzFeed.
Let's go ahead and see what you got.
It's a trap.
We got 38 from John Luke and 32 from Coop. So it's all going to come down to who's closer there.
It's not 34.
Peter wanted to know how
35.
many total votes. 20,596 total votes on this one. We got a nice little sampling size.
35?
If it's 35, then you both win.
We all
if it's
win.
35,
We die.
35, Keith wins. Keith's the winner for just getting all of these polls that perfectly balanced a game like this. We had some answers in the chat as well on this one. Joey coming in with 46, Gator with 55, Scampers with 81, and Dustin with 52%. So lots of people pretty heavy on the Sith side here, thinking they're going to like the Sith side. The actual percentage of people based on over 20,000 votes that chose Sith was 22%.
Yeah.
You are our poll perception champion today with a final score of 20 to 15 with the 5 points you got in that final round. Congratulations, Coop, on winning one of the most hotly contested poll perception games in the space. Also, Tommy said 26%. I think he was the closest out of anybody. And Kevin in the chat, down goes Buckets. Jimmy down.
Jimmy Buckets down. Yo,
Jimmy Buckets just
that kind of
his ankles.
That kind of renews my faith in Twitter. I mean, that means that only 1/4 of the people on there are just complete haters. They literally pick the bad guys for an entire franchise series, you know?
I lose all my faith in Twitter. Are they nice? I'm so
Are we
confused.
getting nice now?
I thought they were evil.
I tweeted that I'm gonna be nice yesterday. I'm not sure if you saw that tweet. Turn over a new leaf.
You guys
saw that one?
Sith or Jedi?
I would go Jedi.
I'm picking
Like a basic bitch.
Dude, the Sith, so many more powers.
Dude, they're just so ugly though.
They
All of them are just
yeah.
like I think you have to be ugly to be part of the dark side.
They Jedi, dude. The Jedi,
Even the pretty ones get ugly when they join.
They do. Yeah,
Like Anakin was hot before he joined the dark side, and then he's ugly.
He was a hot piece of ace.
Coincidence?
Yeah.
I think not.
Darth Maul.
Palpatine. Palpatine went from Palpatine went from
Darth
ugly.
Maul stayed hot.
Right.
Palpatine went from
like pure sex appeal.
Yeah, Darth Maul hot. Now there's 2 Darth Mauls. I gotta go Jedi. I'll go Jedi.
Say he's hot.
Palpatine went from not hot to
even less hot. Even worse.
He went from
borderline. You can't look at him.
He went from scorching to scorched.
Rewatching the Star Wars movies this year, I felt like I was so intrigued. I feel like I missed the entire like politics aspect of it when I watched them as a kid. Like I was just like guns and lasers and lightsabers and monsters and aliens and spaceships and like
I didn't care about the freaking council.
No, but now I'm watching it and like I'm like finish up this lightsaber scene. I need to know what the hell's going on in the Senate. Like I just want like Star Wars C-SPAN.
Who's moving and shaking?
Exactly.
A million clones and another million on the way.
Meetings in the Galactic Empire.
Yeah, it is interesting, dude. Now, I have one last divisive Star Wars question for you. Do you like C-3PO?
Yeah, I think he's a bitch ass robot, but I love him. You need him. Every group needs one.
And given what we know, like there aren't a ton of good droids in the Star Wars universe. You know what I mean? Like R2-D2 and C-3PO, like probably the best you're gonna get. The rest of them are kind of duds.
Yeah, if you take them together, like if there was no R2 to bounce off C-3PO, I wouldn't like
C-3PO would be annoying. Yeah,
he'd be the worst. Yeah, so R2 reels them in though. So together, yeah, you gotta like him. You gotta have C-3PO.
He is loving and caring, and also comically cowardice. I just love everything.
That's because I like C-3PO more than Jar Jar. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that is just about everybody agrees. Jar Jar.
Scott Fish just Anakin with his Joy-Con controller.
Oh,
now
that's the chosen one.
Now that's probably
I am your father. Oh my god, it is all kind of coming together like the chosen one of fantasy, and the father turns.
Ian's Luke Skywalker.
Oh,
who would we be?
Tommy said Jar Jar Binks filibuster episode is great. Yeah, that's a great one. When Jar Jar Binks does an 18-hour filibuster in the Galactic Senate.
Who would we be in that world?
In the Star Wars world,
we'd be like the band that plays music at the cantina. You know, like just.
Someone gets killed, and we all look. And then we start playing again.
Yeah, we just don't care. I feel like I'd be General Grievous.
Yeah, the droid who coughs by choice.
Nice addition to my collection.
I have no idea who I would be in this. Probably no one. I'd probably be dead if I lived in the Star Wars universe. I don't trust my survival instincts in space with lasers.
We'd all just be Ewoks.
We're all Ewoks on this blessed day. Guys, coming up, we got some more games coming your way. We're going to play Fantasy Feud to wrap up the show here. Stick around. You're watching the Front Yard Fantasy Morning Show here on Better Sports Network.
It's Moose and Keith with Mark Malusis and Keith Irizarry.
Moose and Keith with you. Let's welcome aboard right now Iron Eagle.
One of the great that I have from doing notes on a plane, and you always get people looking over. They see color-coded uniform numbers, names, height, weight, age, background, hometown. And I had a woman sitting next to me on a flight, and I'm doing my notes, and she's kind of giving the look, then looking. And I can tell she's looking. And then finally, she'll say, so what is it that you do? Well, what do you think I do? She said, are you a wedding planner? I said, yes. I said, I have to put Rob Gronkowski at Tom Brady's table. I said, you know what? You're not correct, but it's the best answer I've ever heard.
That's great.
Corey Nando and Friends, presented by Mayo Media.
As far as fantasy executive, a football life to fantasy executive is probably going to be the best football life ever.
Who will be the guest? Everyone who was on yesterday.
basically.
Yeah, everybody that's on yesterday will be the guest. Scott Engel, you know what I'm saying? Adam Ronis. Yeah, everybody, those people. Because what Nando, obviously you'll be there. You know what I'm saying? We'll go to the GST and shoot some scenes. You know what I'm saying?
That'd be nice.
We'll shoot some scenes in Midtown Manhattan. Antonio Brown can be on my football life,
That'd
right?
be nice.
Because that's a big part of my come up as a fantasy analyst. Everybody, the football life, the fantasy executive is going to be for the people. When they do the football life on the fantasy executive, I'm going to be hands on.
Good. Yeah. You talking to you.
Lunch Money with Kyle and Ray, presented by FantasyGuru.com.
Cheetos or Doritos?
I truly love both. Cool Ranch Doritos.
Wow.
I grew up on Cheetos. I was a big Chester Cheetah guy.
Oh, nice.
But Ray, as I have aged into adulthood, I've moved away from the fun that is the Cheeto, and I've gone to the, more cosmopolitan Cool Ranch Dorito chip. So I'm probably a Cool Ranch guy. How about you?
I would go Doritos. I don't like Cool Ranch. The traditional, original, regular, whatever it is really good. But my favorite's actually the sweet chili, the purple bag. Oh, it's delicious. It's fantastic.
Yeah. The one that sucks, and I think we can all agree on this one, taco.
Yeah.
I know a lot of things, and I'm perfect at a lot of things. My Dorito trivia is a little shaky.
Okay.
A little shaky. But I think taco is the first flavor.
What's up, everyone? Welcome back to the Front Yard Fantasy Morning Show here on Better Sports Network. We're about to get into a game of Fantasy Feud. Coop just pulled out an unbelievable victory in one of the closest games of poll perception we've had on this show, on the Fantasy Football Game Show, on the Front Yard Fantasy Hour. It was truly a great game of poll perception, guys.
Good. It was neck and neck.
Proud of what you put together. But guys, we're about to get into our next game, Fantasy Feud. This is another game. Coop and I are going to be facing off head-to-head in this one. JL is going to be running it. And how this one works is if you've ever watched the popular TV show Family Feud, it's a lot like that, but with less Steve Harvey and more football generally thrown in there. JL is going to propose a category to us, like something like the top 12 PPR wide receivers from this past season or the top 5 PPR wide receivers from this past season. Coop and I are going to try to name them. We buzz in by saying our name. If we are first, we get to try to name something on the list. If you name the number 1, you're going to get the option of passing or playing, just like in Family Feud. If you play, you got to get all the rest before you get 3 strikes to get the points. If you pass, your opponent gets that same opportunity. We will go like this until we are done with our prompts or we're out of time, at which point the guy with the most points is our Family Feud champion. And play along in the chat. Throw your answers in there because our contestants will have the comments closed so you can just talk to Daddy JL without worrying about me or Coop seeing any of your secrets.
All right, boys, let's get into it. Our first round here. Remember, say your name. Buzz in when you think you have it.
Say your name.
What are the 5 best-selling video games of all time?
It's a franchise
Simon?
or just the game?
I'm going to say Simon, and I'm going to come in here.
Okay.
Tetris.
Tetris is number 1.
Yeah.
Well done, Simon. Would you like to pass or play this one? Pass. Ooh. All right, you are playing on this one. 5 best-selling video games of all time. Number 1, Tetris, has been guessed from Simon, and you have to guess the next 4.
Okay, I'm going to go with...
Sure.
Dude, Tetris is such a good answer. I will go with Pac-Man. Oh, Miss Pac-Man.
Miss Pac-Man is incorrect. Bonk. Okay. 1 strike for you.
All right. Is Super Mario Brothers on there?
Super Mario Brothers is not on this list. Bonk. 2 bonks. 2 strikes right out of the gate.
I got 1 guess with some reasoning behind it.
This is tough, dude. Best-selling video games of all time. is
gonna be Coop.
I mean, I can't just say like Madden because it has to be like Madden 1 edition, I imagine. Or can I?
I'll specific games.
It has
Specific
to be
games.
Specific games. Okay.
Not franchises.
Yeah. Okay. So if there is a FIFA on there from a year, then I'm pretty much smoked. How about
done?
Tim guessed Tetris. Tetris was number 1. Tim, that's a good guess. Simon guessed it immediately.
And passed
I guess Coop passed it right over, which is a genius move. I'm gonna guess
Coop immediately got 2 X's.
Immediately, and I'm gonna get another one right now. How about I said Super Mario Brothers? It could be like Super Mario 64. That's on there. I'm just gonna say.
How about it's gonna be?
I'm looking up. I do my best. I do my best thinking when I look upwards and just think about like Tekken and
the number of times when we're thinking. All of us do it whenever we like start our answer. Like, well, it's gonna be.
Yeah, like I'm not gonna get them all anyway, so I might as well guess something. How about
Every time that happens in my head, all that's going on is, oh my god, I got to pick. I got to pick.
Name any video game for the love of. I'm not saying that.
Just think of a single.
Like now I can't. Now I can't name any video game. So I'm just gonna say
what's gonna be
Halo.
I think that's
Halo. Bonk. That is 3 X's, Coop. Simon, you just have to name one of these.
Here's my logic. The points. Sorry about that.
The points.
The Switch, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, is the best-selling console of all time. And I think when the Switch was initially released, a lot of the consoles came in a package deal with Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, the Switch version of Mario Kart. So I'm going to go with what I think is the best-selling game on the best-selling console of all time and say Mario Kart 8 Deluxe.
Great
Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. Bonk is not on this list.
I felt so good about that logic.
So Coop's going to get 1 point, right?
Yeah, Coop's going to get a point.
Just 1 point. Wow, what
That's
a
pretty
showing.
silly. Give it
number 2. Number 2 on this list. Well, Tetris was number 1, 520 million copies. Minecraft was number 2, 238 million copies. Grand Theft Auto 5, shout out Kevin Tompkins in the chat for getting this one right. 170 million copies. Wii Sports, 83 million copies, and then PUBG, 75 million copies.
PUBG, because they made it free.
PUBG, I would never gotten.
I
never, ever.
That's one of the few games I still play to this day. Like me and Meat Mansion 69. If anyone wants to play PUBG, hit me up on their Xbox. My username Sauce McFloss. We'll do some drops. We'll drop at Pachinki. Hit me up.
And Scott Fish said Switch is number 3. PlayStation 2 is still number 1, baby.
Wow. Wii Sports, I'm a little disappointed in. Like, I was so close with the logic, but that came on literally every Wii. Every Wii had the Wii Sports game.
PUBG is also huge in Asia. That's why it's probably on that list.
Man, wild.
Yeah, wild.
Let's see if I can dig out of this 1 point hole.
Well, you have 1 point hold, Simon here.
Got you back.
Our next category here. Remember, say your name when you think you know the answer. The question is sack leaders in the 2022-2023 season. Coop.
Number 1, Nick Bosa.
Nick Bosa is on this list. He's number 2. Simon, do you want to take a guess at number 1?
No, I do not.
All right.
No, I'm going to because I don't think I'll get number 1, but I think I will get another one on the list. And I don't think I just want to throw one over to Coop to add a little extra freebie on his list.
That's smart.
All right, Coop, you want to pass or play?
The thing is, I'm going to pass.
Yeah, I was going to say that doesn't work if he passes.
Yeah.
I didn't want to say that until after Coop decided, but he's going to pass. So Simon, you are guessing here. You did. Somebody got Nick Bosa. I think it was Coop.
Yeah, I did.
This is just like the episode of Lego Masters that I watched yesterday, where they were going to give a golden brick to another team. It gives them safety that they can use in a later week. And they gave it to the team they thought was going home. No elimination week. So now they just gave that team a free brick to keep for the rest of the time. And that's what just happened to me. I just had a golden brick swept out from underneath me.
Yeah. Also, there are 5 in this list.
Okay,
5.
Yeah.
And Bosa was 2.
Bosa was number 2.
Okay, this is not going to go well. As you guys may have learned on the show, I am not an IDP player, and so I pay much less attention to the defensive statistics. I know the names. I know some of the players.
You are an IDP player.
I'm a bad IDP player.
Blatantly false.
I am in one IDP.
Now he's lying.
I am not an IDP researcher. I play unqualified in one IDP league where I just plug in Aaron Donald and then fill the rest of the slots with names that are projected for high points and hope for the best.
Aaron Donald, is that your guess?
Chris Jones.
Chris Jones is number 3 on this list with 17.5.
Myles Garrett.
Myles Garrett's number 4 on this list with 16.
So we've got 2, 3, and 4.
You have 2, 3, and 4. You just need 1 and 5. And you have no strikes, by the way.
I'll say Aaron Donald. I don't think he's on there, but I'm going to say it. He missed a lot of time. Damn it.
Aaron Donald is not on this list. That's your first X.
Meat bonk. So I forget who was 1, and I remember being surprised when I heard the name. I've heard this name. Like somebody mentioned that he was the leader, and I was like, "Oh, really?" So I'm not going to get 1. I don't think.
What about
actually? Unless it is the guy I think it is. But.
What about Dexter Lawrence? Now he's interior, but he had a great season, so I'm going to say Dexter Lawrence.
Dexter Lawrence is incorrect. Bonk.
He did have great
2
season.
X's.
Shout out Clemson.
He had a great year. Now my head is just stuck on Clemson guys. That's like all I can think now. It's just all the Clemson guys that are in the league. It's like Grady Jarrett's jumping out at me. Christian Wilkins is jumping out at me. But I know those probably aren't the right answers. Let's go with TJ Watt.
TJ Watt is incorrect. Bonk.
Okay.
That's your third bonk. So Coop,
I feel all right though.
Steal these points. You did pretty good.
I got my guess. It's a hometown guess. I know he was leading the league for a little bit, but I don't think he finished leading the league. Matt Judon, is he on the list?
Oh, that's a good answer.
Matthew Judon
is number 5.
Is number 5 on this list.
I knew it as soon as you said it. Coop. Damn it.
Number 1, Son Reddick.
Son Reddick. That's the name. I was like
19 and a half.
I told myself to file that away, and then I didn't do it.
Once you said it, I remember.
Chat get it? Please tell me someone in the chat got it.
Someone got Reddick. But we did not get a full guess from the chat here. In terms of like somebody guessing all of them, we got Victor in here said Parsons, Highsmith from Steelers, and then Reddick. Good guesses. Good guesses.
Let's remember. Let's make a note to remember that, boys. We should know who led league in sacks. It was Hassan Reddick.
Hassan Reddick. There we go.
Hassan Reddick led the league in sacks in the year 2022. Now it's stuck. Everyone will.
We aren't gonna forget.
When you guys want to remember something, do you ever just like walk around your house saying it out loud for like 2 minutes? Like if it's just a
100%.
random fact, I'll just start saying it out loud while I walk around to make sure.
I hosted Fantasy Fortune yesterday on the Fantasy Football Game Show on our YouTube channel.
2 days.
And
ago.
Oh my God, it was 2 days ago.
Right.
2 days ago. But I have to even say it out loud if I'm just like doing it for 2 seconds. If I have to like change the score, I'm like 700, 700, 700, 700, or else it will be gone.
Kevin has 700, I believe is the exact words you said out loud over and over and over again.
And then Kevin's like, I have 700. All right, guys. Coop, you were in the lead 5-0. You were going to get 4 points on that last one for guessing those correctly. Simon, great job doing all the work.
And good use of a pass, Coop, and good pull
Well
at the
played.
end there. I felt like I did pretty well, and I was feeling confident that I might get some points, but nice pull with
like,
Judon.
That move is like it's like in basketball when you inbound the ball off the guy's back and then you just do a layup. Literally, it was a layup too because the guy I guess was the sack leader for my favorite team. Like that's what I was going with, you know.
Yeah, and the sack leader from my favorite team wasn't on there. It's baloney. It's rigged.
What?
Oh, well.
Miles Garrett? Garrett isn't?
He was on there. He was 4.
I think he is on there.
Well, he wasn't high enough.
He was higher than mine.
Higher than your own, yeah. Not high enough.
All right. Let's carry on.
All right, let's get into our next one here. Reminder, say your name if you think you got it. Get us along in the chat. We love it. This next category is top 6 highest scoring NFL quarterback, wide receiver duos of all time.
Coop.
Peyton
Manning and Marvin Harrison.
Peyton Manning and Marvin Harrison are absolutely correct at number 1 with 114 touchdowns.
And so it's just touchdowns between one player and the other?
Yeah.
And it's wide receiver, not tight end. Right?
Yeah.
If tight end's on there, that's fine.
He says it just says receiver, so I don't think it's necessarily wide receiver.
Okay, and it's 6?
It's top 6, yeah.
Okay. I'm gonna play this one.
Okay.
So it's Peyton Manning, Marvin Harrison was 1.
Yep.
I'm gonna do Joe Montana and Jerry Rice.
Joe Montana and Jerry Rice is not on this list. Bonk.
Okay, that's fine.
1X.
Give me Phillip Rivers and Antonio Gates.
Phillip Rivers and Antonio Gates is number 4 on this list with 90 touchdowns.
Nice job, tight end nerd.
Give me
that bomber jacket giving you special powers in the games today. I think you're channeling Alfredo.
Friendly reminder out of the chat while the chat guesses their guesses.
I'm so out. I can see that the YouTube, it just shows the little bar refreshing at the top whenever it's minimized though. So I can see there's comments coming in.
Yeah. Give me this is crazy, but give me Peyton Manning again with Reggie Wayne.
Peyton Manning and Reggie Wayne is incorrect. That's 2 strikes now, Coop. You have 1 more strike left before this goes to Simon to steal.
That's tough. Okay, so we're talking about tutties here. Touchdowns. We played together.
The quarterback's the one that throws the ball, and the wide receiver is the one that catches it.
Yeah, that's what's throwing me off.
Yeah.
And as we've seen, it can be tight end. Antonio Gates being
it can be tight end. Yeah. Just give me a moment here. How about
what's it gonna be?
I gotta need a second.
Steve Harvey gives no one seconds.
Does he?
You get the bonk if you don't answer in like 3 seconds.
All right. Give me Tom Brady to Rob Gronkowski.
Tom Brady to Rob Gronkowski is number 2 on this list with 105 touchdowns.
I thought you were going to let that one sneak through to me.
I wouldn't dare.
All right, Coop. You got half of them.
Yeah.
You have 2 strikes. What's it going to be?
Strikes. This last one is going to be give me Kurt Warner to Isaac Bruce.
Kurt Warner to Isaac Bruce is incorrect. I'm sorry. That is the final strike. Simon, you have the opportunity to steal here if you would like. Top 6 highest scoring NFL quarterback receiver duos of all time. Coop got Peyton Manning, Marvin Harrison at number 1, Tom Brady and Rob Gronkowski at number 2, and Phillip Rivers and Antonio Gates at number 4. So you have to select either the 3rd, 5th, or 6th option in this list.
I am very bad at like history and all-time leaders and things like that. So I'm just going to go with another Tom Brady one. Maybe he's on that list twice. Dude played forever. I'll say Tom Brady, Julian Edelman.
Tom Brady, Julian Edelman is incorrect. I'm sorry, Simon. Coop, you were going to get these 3 points, bringing you up to 8.
It's driving me nuts not being able to think of these other ones. Is Troy Aikman, Michael Irvin on there?
They are not.
Who is it?
Give us a quarterback, and we'll see if we can guess the player.
Dan Marino.
Chris Chambers? Oh, no. It's way before that.
Toby.
So number 1, well, we already went through one and 2. Number 3 on this list was Steve Young and Jerry Rice.
Oh, it's Steve.
92 touchdowns.
I see.
Yeah,
that makes
so
sense.
you got Jerry Rice, but you did not get the correct quarterback. And then number 5 on this list was Dan Marino and Mark Clayton with
Mark
82
Clayton.
touchdowns.
Would have never gotten that one.
That's crazy.
And number 6.
Number
Give us a
6,
QB. Give us just QB.
Big Ben.
And then Antonio Brown.
Antonio Brown, 78 touchdowns.
I was thinking
That's a lot
about
of
that one.
touchdowns.
That one was up there. Damn.
Yeah. Antonio Brown was
Damn.
so good, bro. I think we forget that this guy was the number 1 PPR wide receiver for 4 straight years. And he has the 3rd and 4th best PPR seasons of all time.
Dang. And Victor got Big Ben and AB in the chat. Well done, Victor. And Scamper's got Brady and Gronk. Gator said Montana and Rice, and then Scampers
That's
came
what
in
I said too.
Young and Rice. Yeah.
Scamp. He scamped right back in.
Games
I probably
right
should
in.
have. I should have pulled back in with the Young and Rice, but in my mind, it was. At that point, I was like, oh, it was probably split to where no one was on the list. Right?
Yeah.
Rice is so
I don't
good.
know how to handle that, so I just didn't say anything.
Rice is so good. Yeah. Now you handled it right.
Yeah. And then Victor said Rodgers and Adams. Good guess. Good guess.
I almost said Favre and Donald Driver. I don't know why, but then I remember Greg Jennings kind of came in there too, and yeah, just tough.
Yeah.
Gator
All right, you
looks
guys
like he's
wanna do
heading
one more?
out. Let's do one more. Gator's heading out here. See you later, Gator. Adios, my
Later,
friend.
Gator.
Later, Gator.
And I'm getting back out of that chat.
All right, out of that chat, our final round here, Fantasy Feud. Top 7 pass completion leaders of all time.
Coop.
Damn it.
Coop.
Drew Brees.
Drew Brees is number 2 on this list with 7,142. Simon, would you like to take an attempt at number 1?
Sure. Let's go longevity only. Tom Brady.
Tom Brady is number 1 on this list with 7,753. Simon, well done. Would you like to pass or play?
Oh, I thought we were doing completion percentage.
I'll play.
No, completions.
Oh, that's funny. I thought I was completion percentage. Drew Brees.
I got you. I'm going to play this one. I'm going to try it.
Okay.
So
You
we
have the
got Tom
first 2.
Brady.
You're guessing 7.
And Drew Brees on the list. Let's go. I'm just trying to think of walkers. Let's go Peyton Manning.
Peyton Manning's number 4 with
Let's go.
6,125.
His career was a little shorter, but let's go Eli Manning.
Eli Manning is not on this list. That's going to
Damn.
be your first X.
That's okay.
I'll
What about
come up, fellas.
what about Big Ben Roethlisberger?
Bean.
1 second. Big Ben Roethlisberger is on this list with 5,440 at number 6.
So
you
far
guessed
we've got
4.
Breeze, Brady, Ben, and there was one other one that I got right.
Peyton.
Manning.
I forgot about Mr. Peyton.
Hoping he had a B in his name, but he didn't.
Big
Banning.
Bean.
Peyton Banning.
Beanbag burger.
Baton Bannon. What about? Let's see, pass completions. We're hucking chucking the ball these days in the league. So we got some. What about Phillip Rivers?
Phillip Rivers is number 7 on this list with 5,277. Simon, well done.
So I've got 1 strike. I just got
One
Phillip
strike.
Rivers.
You just need number 3 and number 5 on this list of 7.
Number 3 and number 5 on this list of 7. Okay, let's think of some more guys who played for a while. But I don't really know anything past recent memory. So Brett Favre.
Brett Favre is number
that's
3 on this
great
list.
guess,
with
man.
6,300. So Simon, you just need 1 more correct guess to bank all of this.
How many points does Coop have?
Coop has 8, so you
Aw,
unfortunately cannot win. But you can get very close to winning.
I thought he had
but
6.
you get so much pride. You get so much pride and sense of accomplishment.
You nail 7. That's pretty good.
That's pretty good.
Okay. Especially with an all-time stat thing. That's
Great,
not my cup of
yeah.
tea.
I think you got it.
You know what? Let's go with one of the names on the last list. Let's go Steve Young.
Steve Young is incorrect.
Yeah.
That's
okay,
your second
one more.
strike.
You know-
Yeah, maybe we spoke too soon.
Aaron Rodgers.
That's it. It's got to be it.
Aaron Rodgers is incorrect. I'm sorry, Simon. That's your third
damn.
X. All right,
Well,
Coop. You can steal.
Is
You're
it?
gonna win, but
yeah. So this is kind of a shot. This guy's on a ton of these lists. I think he played for a really long time. Is it Seahawks quarterback Dave Craig?
it is not Seahawks quarterback Dave Craig. This is a name you
Fouts?
will recognize.
Is it Fouts?
Matt Ryan.
Oh,
5,551 completions.
So freaking close to sweeping
So
that.
close.
But I'll take my points. But Coop, clean sweep on today's games today. Nice job, my friend. That's a double victory for Coop, beating me in Fantasy Feud, beating JL down in some poll perception. But that is going to be it for us today, guys. Everybody in the chat, thank you so much for coming in, hanging out, playing some games, eating your breakfast, and spending your morning talking about beans and balls here with the Front Yard Fantasy crew. We'll be back tomorrow from 7 a.m. to 10 a.m. Eastern time for some more Front Yard Fantasy morning show nonsense. So make sure to tune in bright and early tomorrow to hang out with us. I see NKC in the chat saying goodbye. And all the people in the chat that were wishing me good luck. I thank you so much. JL, any parting words on this Thursday before we head out of here?
Arrivederci.
Coop?
Goodbye, y'all.
Arrivederci, as JL said. We'll see you guys bright and early tomorrow morning. Adios, everyone. Maybe we'll see you
and now. AutoZone.
Beans, beans, beans.